The stars of the Sol system burned quietly that day, unaware that history was about to change forever. Far beyond the orbit of Neptune, a fleet of silver ships slipped out of hyperspace, their hulls glowing with alien light. They belonged to the Voran Confederation, one of the oldest empires in the galaxy, proud, ancient, and very sure of its own superiority. For them, Earth was nothing but a curiosity, a young world with noisy broadcasts and clumsy rockets. Now they had come to meet the humans face to face, to see if these strange creatures deserved a place among the stars. Inside the flagship Voran Ascendant, Ambassador Karen adjusted his crystalline robe and looked through the massive viewing window. Before him, the blue planet of Earth rotated slowly, wrapped in clouds and life. "How primitive," he said softly, his voice filled with disdain. "Still using combustion engines, still fighting among themselves." The officers around him laughed politely, their scaled faces glimmering under the ship's cold lights. To them, humanity was nothing more than a child playing with fire. But deep inside the ship, a technician frowned at his console. "Ambassador," he said quietly, "I'm detecting something." "Strange." Karen didn't bother turning around. "Strange? In this backwater system?" "Yes, sir," the technician continued, his voice trembling. "A massive energy signature near Earth's orbit. Too stable to be natural." The ambassador waved a dismissive hand. "Probably a weather satellite," he said. "These creatures barely left their moon." But the technician wasn't so sure. The readings were unlike anything he had seen before. On Earth, in the high command center beneath the Himalayas, General Arya Reeve watched the incoming transmission on a massive holographic display. The alien faces stared back at her, elegant, arrogant, curious. They introduced themselves with grand titles, calling humanity young friends of the galaxy, and offered to guide them toward enlightenment. Arya smiled politely, but her heart was steady and cold. She had read the classified files. She knew what the Voran had done to other civilizations. They always came in peace. Until peace meant surrender. Behind her, an officer whispered, "Ma'am, Project Olympus is ready for activation." She nodded slowly, her eyes still fixed on the screen. "Not yet," she said. "Let them think we are weak." In orbit, the alien fleet deployed observation drones, scanning every city, every signal, every defense satellite. Their sensors laughed at human technology, crude metal shells and old nuclear missiles. Nothing worth fearing. Ambassador Karen turned to his second officer. "Prepare the delegation," he said. "We will descend to their surface at dawn." "Yes, sir," the officer replied. "But about that strange signal." "It's still there," Karen sighed. "Ignore it," he said. "This planet is not worth our worry." But as the alien fleet moved closer to Earth, something deep beneath the clouds stirred. A vibration echoed through the magnetic field, a hum so low only machines could hear it. Hidden behind the shadow of the moon, a massive structure began to move. It wasn't built like alien ships. It was darker, heavier, and far more powerful. Its engines pulsed once, sending ripples through the void. Every sensor in the alien fleet flickered. "Ambassador!" the technician shouted. "That energy spike again." "It's enormous." Karen turned sharply, his voice now edged with concern. "Source? Unknown," the technician said. It's right behind the moon." Karen leaned forward, his eyes narrowing as the holographic display came alive. The image stabilized, and for the first time in his life he saw something that made his breath stop. A colossal shape was emerging from behind the lunar shadow. It was the size of a continent, its hull black as night, marked with glowing white letters, UNS Terra Dominion. The human Titan-Class Warship, silent and waiting. "Impossible," whispered the ambassador. "They can't have built that." But they had. The humans had built it in secret, hiding its construction within the moon's far side mining colonies. Decades of silence and deception had paid off in the human command center. General Reeve stood before a holographic projection of the warship, her voice calm, steady. "Activate the Titan," she said around her. Engineers and officers moved like clockwork. The ship's systems came online, one after another. Shields, reactors, rail cannons, stealth modules. From the surface of Earth, people looked up and saw a strange glint moving across the sky. They didn't know it yet, but the age of fear was ending. Humanity was no longer just a small world lost in the stars. It was a power the galaxy had overlooked for too long. Back aboard the alien flagship, silence filled the bridge. Every officer stared at the screen, eyes wide, hearts pounding. The ambassador spoke in a whisper. Signal the council. Tell them Earth is not what we thought. Outside, the Titan-Class Warship began to move, slowly turning its massive frame toward the alien fleet. Its engines burned brighter than the sun, and for the first time in centuries, the mighty Voran Confederation felt something new. They felt fear, and far below, on the blue planet they once mocked, humanity stood ready. The warship's voice echoed through space. "This is Earth Command," said Admiral Reeve. "Welcome to our home." The Voran fleet hovered in high orbit above Earth, a wall of silver light and cold metal. Below them, the blue planet looked calm, unaware that the galaxy's oldest empire now watched it like a hawk. Inside the alien flagship Voran Ascendant, Ambassador Karen paced slowly, his tail moving in irritation. He had expected weak creatures desperate for attention, but what he had seen behind the moon still burned in his mind. That massive human warship, the Titan-Class, it was not supposed to exist. Still, he told himself it must be an illusion, a bluff, a display meant to scare them. "Humans cannot build something like that," he said under his breath, trying to sound confident. But even he didn't believe his own words. Around him, alien officers whispered quietly, exchanging nervous glances. The technician who had first detected the Titan kept replaying the energy readings again and again, searching for an explanation. Meanwhile, on Earth, General Area Reeve stood before the Grand Council of World Leaders in a secure virtual chamber. The holograms flickered with faces from every continent, calm, but filled with fear. "The Voran are here," she said simply. "They think we're weak, and they want control." An old diplomat leaned forward. "Control?" "They spoke of peace," Reeve smiled coldly. "Peace that starts with surrender." A silence fell across the room, heavy and deep. Then she said the words no one dared to say for decades. "It's time to show them who we really are." In the orbiting command station Olympus Gate, the crew worked silently. Every console flickered with coded messages and hidden frequencies. Project Olympus, the secret alliance of all human nations, had one purpose: to protect Earth from any alien threat. And now that day had come. Commander Leon Torres, stationed aboard the Titan-Class Terra Dominion, received the activation code. Her eyes hardened. "Bring systems to full readiness," she ordered. "Do not reveal weapons, but let them know we're watching." Back in the alien fleet, Karen opened a new communication channel to Earth's leadership. His voice was calm, polite, dripping with false kindness. "Humans of Earth," he began, "the Voran Confederation welcomes you to the galactic community. We come in peace, to share knowledge and guide your species to maturity." He paused, smiling faintly. "In exchange, we ask for cooperation, resource access, and limited military oversight." He waited, expecting gratitude, submission, applause, but instead, the human representative's voice came through cold and sharp. "This is Earth Command," said General Reeve. "Your terms are rejected." The translator bot repeated the sentence in perfect Voran dialect, and silence filled their bridge. Karen's eyes widened. "Rejected?" he repeated. "No species rejects the Confederation," his second officer hissed. "They do not understand the price." At that moment, alarms echoed through the alien ship. "Unidentified energy field forming near orbit," shouted the technician. "It's the Titan-Class again." The holographic screen lit up. The Terra Dominion had moved from behind the moon. It now drifted above Earth, its colossal hull reflecting sunlight like a moving continent. Every weapon port was closed, every cannon silent, yet its presence screamed power. Karen clenched his fist. "Are they threatening us?" His officer hesitated. "They have not locked weapons, but their targeting systems are online." "Impossible," Karen snapped. "They're bluffing." But deep inside, he knew it wasn't a bluff on board the Titan. Admiral Reeve gave calm orders. "Maintain position," she said. "No fire unless fired upon." The bridge was quiet except for the low hum of reactors. From her viewport, she could see the alien fleet. Dozens of ships, armed and glowing. Her voice was steady as she whispered, "Let them see what humans have become." The alien ambassador tried again, now his tone more careful. "Humans, your actions may be misunderstood," he said. "Deactivate that vessel, and we will continue peaceful talks." Reeve answered with a faint smile. "Talks will continue when respect begins." The alien's face hardened. His pride cracking under pressure, he turned to his officer. Send the report to the council. Tell them Earth has a Titan. As the message traveled through the stars, the alien fleet remained still. Every captain aboard those ships could feel the shadow of the human warship above them. It was not just the size, not just the power. It was the silence. The kind of silence that says we don't need to prove anything. Hours passed. The world's news channels showed faint lights in the sky. People thought it was another satellite. But those who worked in secret knew what was truly unfolding. For the first time in history, humans stood face to face with an empire that ruled the stars. And they did not kneel. Back aboard the Terra Dominion, Commander Torres looked out at the alien ships. She could see their engines flickering nervously. "Do you think they'll attack?" one officer asked. She smiled faintly. "No," she said. "They came to teach us, but now they're the ones learning. Down below. In every city, the people of Earth lived their normal lives, unaware that above them hung the balance of everything. But high above the clouds, among the silent stars, a new shadow had fallen. A shadow not of fear, but of power. The shadow of humanity. The night side of Earth shimmered with quiet lights, while above, in the dark sky, the alien fleet floated like silver ghosts. Every ship of the Voran Confederation had gone silent, their transmissions cut, their weapons inactive. But the silence was not peace. It was fear. At the center of it all, the human Titan-Class Warship, UNS Terra Dominion, drifted in steady orbit, its black hull gleaming under the sun. Inside the Voran flagship Ascendant, Ambassador Karen could feel the weight of tension in every breath. His officers avoided eye contact, their pride shattered by the sight of the human vessel. He stared at the holographic projection of the Titan, its energy reading still climbing slowly. "What kind of reactor do they use?" he whispered. "How did primitives build such power?" No one answered. For the first time in centuries, the Voran had found something they did not understand. On board the Terra Dominion, Admiral Aria Reeve stood before the main view panel. Her arms crossed, her face calm. "Status report," she said. "All systems stable," replied Commander Torres. "Weapons in standby, shields at full capacity. Stealth mode disengaged." Reeve nodded slowly. "Good," she said. "Let them see us clearly." From the bridge, the crew watched as the alien fleet slowly began to reposition itself, scanning, analyzing, trying to read the ship's purpose. But every reading they got made no sense. The armor density was beyond known alloys. The energy field stronger than anything they'd seen. One alien captain even whispered, "This is no warship. It's a fortress." Far below, in Earth's orbital control station, a small group of scientists monitored the unfolding scene. Dr. Yana Malik, one of the lead engineers who helped design the Titan, leaned back in her chair. "They're trying to find its weakness," she said softly. "They won't find any." Her assistant grinned nervously. "Do you think they'll attack?" Yana shook her head. "They don't want war. Not after seeing that." Back in space, the tension broke when one of the alien frigates drifted too close. Its sensors touched the Titan's energy field, triggering an automated response. A wave of blue light flashed across the warship's hull, and for a brief moment, every alien system in range went dark. Screens flickered, engines stalled. The fleet trembled in confusion. "What was that?" shouted one officer aboard the Ascendant. "A power pulse," replied the technician, "but not a weapon. It's a signal." The massive holographic projector inside the alien ship activated suddenly, filling the command deck with a new image. It was Admiral Reeve, standing tall in her dark uniform. Her voice came through clear and steady. "Ambassador Karen," she said, "you came here under the name of peace, but your fleets arrived armed, scanning our cities. Preparing to judge us." She paused, her gaze sharp. "We built this ship not for conquest, but for defense, for respect, for the safety of our people." Karen straightened his back, forcing confidence into his voice. "You threaten us with that monster," he said, "and call it peace?" Reeve didn't flinch. "No," she said. "I call it balance." Behind her, through the transmission feed, the alien officers could see movement. Massive mechanical panels sliding open on the Titan's hull. Inside, glowing blue cores spun to life, generating waves of energy that rippled through space. The ship's surface shimmered like liquid metal as defensive shields expanded outward, forming a visible aura of light. Each pulse hummed through the alien sensors like thunder. It wasn't an attack, but a demonstration, a message of power. One of Karen's officers whispered, "Ambassador, that thing could destroy our entire fleet." Karen didn't reply. His hands gripped the console tightly. On the main screen, the Titan rotated slowly, revealing its command insignia, for Earth, for humanity. Below that, a massive rail cannon extended from its midsection, the Olympus cannon, humanity's most powerful weapon. Reeves' voice continued, calm but commanding. "We've seen what happens to other civilizations who trust too easily," she said. "We will not be guided and we will not kneel." The alien ambassador's jaw tightened. "And if we refuse your arrogance?" Reeve took a slow breath. "Then we remind you what arrogance costs." Suddenly, an alert flashed across both fleets. A massive asteroid drifting from the outer system was heading straight toward the alien formation. Its trajectory had been hidden by their own ship's interference, and now it was too close to avoid. "Impact in 30 seconds, shouted the alien navigator. The Voran ascendant began to turn, engines flaring. But it was too late. At that moment, the Titan's targeting systems came alive. "Lock on asteroid," said Admiral Reeve. "Arm main cannon." The Olympus cannon charged, its inner coils glowing white-hot, the sound like a roaring storm. Every alien eye turned toward the human ship. A single beam of light exploded from the Titan's front array, pure energy, focused and perfect. The asteroid shattered into dust before it even touched the fleet, its debris scattering harmlessly into space. The shockwave rippled through every alien ship. Their scanners recorded the power output, energy equivalent to a small star. Silence followed, deep and absolute. Admiral Reeves' voice echoed once more. "We saved your ships," she said. "Remember that when you speak to your council." The transmission ended, leaving only the soft hum of the Titan drifting through the void. On board the Ascendant, the crew sat in stunned silence. No one spoke, no one moved. Karen finally whispered, "They could have destroyed us, but they didn't." His officer nodded slowly. "Perhaps, Ambassador, it is we who came to the wrong planet." Outside, the Terra Dominion drifted quietly above the blue world. Its lights dimmed, its weapons powered down. Humanity had spoken without war, and the galaxy would never forget the sound of that silence. Across the vast networks of the galaxy, a single message traveled faster than light. It carried only 6 words, but those words shook every empire, every council, every throne. Earth possesses a Titan-Class warship. In the grand halls of distant star systems, alien rulers stared at the transmission in disbelief. The Voran Confederation's own High Council gathered in their crystalline chamber, voices echoing with fear and pride clashing together. Ambassador Karen stood before them. His head bowed, his body trembling slightly. "You saw it with your own eyes?" one counselor demanded. "I did," Karen replied, his voice barely steady. "It was not illusion, not trickery, not stolen technology. It is human-made." Gasps rippled across the room. "They were supposed to be primitive," another shouted. "How could they hide such power?" Karen's eyes were distant, haunted. "Because we never looked closely enough," he said. "We laughed at them, and they built a god of war beneath our noses." Meanwhile, on Earth the mood was completely different. Inside the Titan-Class warship Terra Dominion, Admiral Reeve walked along the viewing deck. Watching the stars drift slowly by, her crew stood tall, proud, and silent. They had faced a galactic empire and walked away undefeated. Commander Torres joined her, holding a datapad with new intelligence reports. "Every major empire is talking about us," she said. "Some call us dangerous, others call us brilliant." Reeve smiled faintly. "As long as they don't call us weak, down on the planet people began to notice the change too." News networks replayed the leaked footage of the Titan firing its cannon, vaporizing the asteroid in one blinding strike. For the first time, humanity wasn't afraid of what was out there. The galaxy was afraid of them. In schools, children spoke proudly of Admiral Reeve and the Titan. In factories, engineers whispered about building more. The name Terra Dominion became a symbol, not of war but of unity, but far away. Deep within the Voran home system, fear turned into strategy. Admiral Varric of the Voran Defense Fleet slammed his clawed hand onto the table. "They humiliated us," he growled. "The Council talks of peace. But peace with such power is submission." Several generals nodded in agreement. "We must prepare," one said, "before the humans decide to expand." But Karen, still shaken, spoke quietly. "You don't understand them," he said. "They didn't attack even when they could have destroyed us all." Varric sneered. "Naive words from a frightened diplomat." Kieran looked at him coldly. No, Admiral. Wise words from someone who saw death and was spared. At that moment, the galactic communications grid flickered to life. Every major power received a live broadcast from Earth Command. Admiral Reeve appeared on the screen once more. Standing in the same black uniform, her tone calm but firm. This is Admiral Aria Reeve of Earth, she said. We seek peace, not dominance, cooperation, not submission. Several generals nodded in agreement. We must prepare, one said, before the humans decide to expand. But Kieran, still shaken, spoke quietly. You don't understand them, he said. They didn't attack even when they could have destroyed us all. Varric sneered. Naive words from a frightened diplomat. Kieran looked at him coldly. No, Admiral. Wise words from someone who saw death and was spared. At that moment, the galactic communications grid flickered to life. Every major power received a live broadcast from Earth Command. Admiral Reeve appeared on the screen once more, standing in the same black uniform, her tone calm but firm. This is Admiral Aria Reeve of Earth, she said. We seek peace, not dominance, cooperation, not submission, her voice carried across light years, reaching alien hearts that had never known respect from lesser species. But, she continued, we will not kneel, not again, not ever, in the Voran Council chamber. Silence followed. The counselors looked at one another. Unable to respond, finally the eldest among them spoke. They are no longer beneath us, he said. They are beside us. The broadcast spread everywhere, to the trade worlds of the Krath, to the frozen colonies of the Myrene, to the massive stations orbiting distant suns. Species that had once mocked humans now watched in awe. Some feared Earth would strike, others prayed for alliance. A few even sent messages of friendship, hoping to stand beside the power that defied the oldest empire in the stars. On board the Titan, Admiral Reeve received one such message. It came from a small independent colony world on the edge of the Orion Spur. Their leader's voice trembled with sincerity. Humanity has shown what courage means, he said. If ever you need allies, our world stands with Earth. Reeve's expression softened. Tell them, humanity stands with them too. That night, Earth's night sky shimmered brighter than ever, filled with orbital lights and silent vessels. But one ship stood above all. The Terra Dominion, the unspoken guardian of a young, defiant world inside her metallic heart. Thousands of crew members gazed out into the stars, wondering what would come next. Would the galaxy unite under peace? Or would fear ignite a war that would burn across every system? Admiral Reeve walked to the viewing deck once more, her reflection fading into the darkness of space. Commander Torres joined her, quietly asking, Do you think they'll come back? Reeve looked at the stars, her voice calm and certain. Oh, they'll come back, she said, but this time, they'll come with respect. Outside, the Titan rotated slowly over the blue planet, its engines glowing faintly like watchful eyes. Every empire, every world, every commander knew one truth that night. The humans were no longer prey, no longer silent wanderers among the stars. They were the storm that could not be ignored. And for the first time in galactic memory, the mighty bowed their heads not in fear but in respect. The dawn over Earth came golden and calm. But the calm was only on the surface above the blue world. The Titan-Class Warship Terra Dominion drifted in silent orbit, her hull glinting like the edge of a blade. Messages from across the galaxy poured into Earth Command, some filled with praise, others with warning. Humanity had awakened a storm they could no longer hide. Inside the warship's command deck, Admiral Aria Reeve stood before the star map. Surrounded by glowing blue holograms of alien worlds, Commander Torres read out loud, The Voran Council requests another meeting. Under neutral terms, Reeve nodded slowly. They've learned respect, she said quietly. Now let's teach them understanding. Far away in the Voran capital, Ambassador Kieran prepared his report to the High Council. He no longer carried himself with arrogance. His tone was calm, thoughtful, humble. These humans, he said, they do not seek to conquer, yet their strength demands to be acknowledged. The counselors listened in silence. The memory of the Titan's cannon still burned into their minds. Finally, the head counselor spoke. Then we will meet them not as masters but as equals. Days later, in orbit above a neutral world called Arendor Prime, the first interstellar accord was held. It was the first time in history that Earth stood among the great powers of the galaxy. Thousands watched the live broadcast from every planet, every ship, every colony. The sight of human diplomats walking alongside alien leaders stunned the galaxy. Some called it the end of the old order. Others called it the birth of a new one. As the delegates took their seats, the hall fell into silence. At the center stood Admiral Reeve, wearing her black uniform with the insignia of Earth Command. Across from her sat Ambassador Karen, no longer proud, no longer dismissive. He rose from his chair and bowed slightly, a gesture no Voran had ever given to another species. "Admiral," he said, "on behalf of the Confederation, we acknowledge Earth as a sovereign power." Reeve inclined her head respectfully. "And humanity pledges peace as long as peace is honored." Applause spread through the chamber. Slow at first, then thunderous. The treaty was signed, not in dominance, but in balance. For the first time, the galaxy saw something new. A civilization that rose not through conquest, but through courage. After the ceremony, Reeve walked alone to the balcony overlooking the alien city below. Lights shimmered like stars across the horizon. Ships drifted silently through the clouds. Commander Torres joined her, her expression soft but proud. "You did it," she said. "We did it?" Reeve smiled faintly. "No," she replied, "humanity did it, back on Earth." Celebrations filled every city. Children pointed at the night sky where the Terra Dominion glowed faintly. In classrooms and homes, people spoke of unity, of strength, of how far they had come, no longer afraid of the stars, but ready to walk among them. But even as peace began to settle, whispers spread through the galactic channels. Other empires, long silent, began to move. Some curious, some threatened. Rumors spoke of strange signals beyond the rim, of civilizations even older than the Voran. And deep within the Titan's command decks, Earth scientists began work on new technology. Faster drives, stronger shields, smarter ships, because they all knew one truth. Peace was only safe when you were ready to protect it. Weeks later, the Titan floated once more above Earth, her vast frame reflecting the light of the sun inside. Admiral Reeve gave her final order for the day. "Activate long-range scanners," she said. "Keep eyes on every corner of the stars." Commander Torres nodded. "Understood, Admiral." Reeve looked out at the endless sea of stars beyond the glass, her voice soft but filled with pride. "For centuries we were just dreamers," she said. "Now we are guardians." The engines of the Titan hummed to life, their glow spreading across the ship's surface like the heartbeat of a giant. As the Terra Dominion turned toward deep space, a message went out across the galaxy. It carried the new motto of humanity, a promise and a warning. "We come in peace, but we are ready." And somewhere, far beyond known space, something ancient heard that message and stirred. But for now the stars belonged to Earth. The era of silence had ended. The new galactic order had begun. And the humans, once the weakest, once the overlooked, now stood as the protectors of peace, the keepers of balance in the storm that would never bow again.